Did you know that in Wreck-It Ralph, the character Turbo had no other choice, bro, but to become the movie's villain?
What the? Who are you?
I'm Turbo, the greatest racer ever! And I did not reprogram this world to let you and that Holocaust-riddled warthog take it away from me!
Yeah, I know it might sound weird, but this character really didn't have another option. He was forced to become the film's villain, which actually made him one of the best written and most well-constructed villains in animation history.
Because of you, Ralph, I'm now the most powerful virus in the arcade!
There are thousands of iconic villains out there, right? And most of them have some kind of motivation for being evil, right? The classics want world domination, others seek revenge, and some of the weaker ones are just in it for the money. But have you ever noticed that Turbo in Wreck-It Ralph didn't choose to be the villain of the story? He was forced to leave his game and invade other games. Not because he was evil, but because he just didn't want to die. He had no choice, man. His game was malfunctioning and could be unplugged at any moment. And if that happened, he'd be deleted. So he started jumping into other games, even ones that weren't compatible with his style, causing more bugs and problems each time, eventually becoming a legend. The Legend of Turbo. Now, anyone who tries to leave their own game gets labeled as going turbo.
Ralph's gone turbo?
Back in the day, Turbo was the star of a popular racing game. Probably the only big hit racing game in the arcade at the time. He felt like the guy in that genre. He got super spoiled by all the attention from the kids. But then, a new racing game came along, stealing the spotlight. Of course, Turbo got insanely jealous, and he wanted that attention back. So he jumped into other people's games.
These are the greatest graphics I've ever seen. Turbo-tastic!
Hey, is that...
Turbo-tastic!
That looks like Turbo.
What's Turbo doing in this game? Turbo-tastic! Oh, come on!
Unfortunately, Turbo had become way too outdated for kids to want to play. But this wasn't just about jealousy anymore. His life was at risk. If no one played his game, the arcade would shut it down and replace it with a newer machine. And just like that, Turbo would die with his game.
Turbo ended up putting both games and himself out of order. For good.
So he left both games and wandered, eventually finding a new home in a racing game called Sugar Rush. He hid there, and what's interesting is how the movie kept dropping hints for us about who he really was.
There you are! Hello!
You!
No, I come alone, unarmed.
I've had enough of you!
The plot twist in this scene is brilliant. The movie was throwing the truth in our faces the whole time, and we just didn't notice. Like the first time Turbo is mentioned in the movie, the villains are all chatting in a support group, and one of them says,
You're not going turbo, are you?
Turbo? No, I'm not going turbo. Come on, guys.
When we hear that for the first time, we think it's just an expression, something negative. But that line was actually the first clue. Going turbo literally meant becoming Turbo, someone who can become whoever he wants.
Who are you?
I'm Turbo, the greatest racer ever!
Another clue. When King Candy meets Ralph for the first time, he doesn't act surprised or scared. Why not? Because back in the day, Turbo and Ralph were neighbors. Their arcade machines were side by side. They probably saw each other every day after closing time. Notice how every character is afraid of Ralph. He's a villain after all. Most of the good characters run away from him. But King Candy, who's supposed to be a good guy, doesn't flinch at all, as if he already knows Ralph is harmless. And the only other villain here is Turbo, obviously. That's because King Candy is Turbo in disguise.
Oh, milk my duds! It's Wreck-It Ralph!
Yeah? Who are you, the guy that makes the donuts?
Please, no, I'm King Candy!
What really makes this villain's construction so cool is the small details, the little hints the movie gives us along the way, signs that were right in front of us the whole time. That's what makes a great villain twist. And back then, Disney loved this formula. Think about how many villains in that era came as a big surprise, like Hans in Frozen or Mayor Bellwether in Zootopia. But let's be honest, they didn't pull it off as well as they did with Turbo. Take Frozen, for example. Prince Hans seems like a charming prince, but when he turns out to be the villain, it feels kinda cheap. Why? Because the movie gave us no clues. He goes from dream prince to evil mastermind in a few seconds. It's like they made him the villain at the last minute. And honestly, that's probably what happened. Elsa was originally meant to be the villain, but they changed that during production and just threw Hans in there as the new bad guy because a Disney movie needs a villain.
You're no match for Elsa.
No, you're no match for Elsa.
I, on the other hand, am the hero who was going to save Arendelle from destruction.
You won't get away with this.
Oh, I already have.
But back to Turbo. Once he becomes King Candy, he adopts a completely new personality. A cheerful king, a benevolent ruler, kind to his subjects. Until we see how he treats Vanellope, he isolates her, removes her from the game entirely, rewrites her programming, and even messes with everyone else's memory so they forget who she is. That's when most viewers start to suspect he might be the antagonist. But the final reveal, that King Candy was Turbo all along, hits so much harder because the film gave us the clues and we just didn't see them. That makes the plot twist feel satisfying. He wasn't just some small-time villain from a forgotten game. He was the main villain of the movie.
I should thank you, but it'd be more fun to kill you. Get back here, little guy! Have some...
Turbo's motivations weren't even entirely evil, you know? He was jealous, yeah, and afraid of losing his popularity. But hey, who hasn't felt jealous before? Still, I think his main motivation was survival, just like the other Sugar Rush characters who also fled at the end to avoid dying. Turbo was just doing the same thing in his own way. For me, his character is a 10 out of 10. One of the best villains ever made in animation, no doubt about it. If you like this style of video, don't forget to leave a like and suggest the next villain you want us to review here on the channel. Because I love doing these deep dives into movies and characters, alright? In fact, I'm leaving 2 more videos just like this one for you to check out. And I bet you're gonna love them too. Have a nice day and see you next time.